The Buddha and Buddhists and those behind him always say to live is to suffer, period. The problem with human beings is we don't like to suffer. Who does, you know? And because of that not liking to suffer, we do a lot of unconscious things that are actually counterproductive to our healing and our growth. If we could all just accept that being alive means to suffer, and sometimes it's just going to happen and you just got to work your way through it, life would probably be a lot easier for many of us. And what do I mean by to live is to suffer? Like, Queen, everybody's not suffering. Well, we all do suffer at different times. When you were 2 years old and you fell down and scraped your knee, you were suffering. When your first boyfriend or your first girlfriend hurt your feelings, you were suffering. When somebody you cared tremendously about betrayed you, you're going to suffer. When somebody passes away that you really had a strong connection to, you suffer. So at different times, under different circumstances, and not under the same one, some of us don't suffer from the same things. But we all, at some point in time during our lifespan, suffer. So what the Buddhists are saying is if we can just kind of come to terms with that, then we'll be able to not be so anxious and upset when it happens. Because it's like, oh, well, I'm human, so I'm going to suffer. You know, it's kind of like I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be thirsty. I'm going to be sleepy. I'm going to be cranky. You know, these are the things that come along with being human. So if you can just be like, yeah, sometimes I'm going to suffer, and kind of give it that kind of a matter of fact kind of understanding, it does make it easier. Some of us, it'll make it easier. I know for me that understanding has helped a lot. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you about is that this pursuit of not suffering ends up messing a lot of people up. And one of my favorite books, this is Why People Don't Heal and How They Can by Caroline Myss, PhD. She has in here 5 myths about healing. And these myths are tied into this whole dance that we do with suffering. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to tell you guys about these myths, because many of us fall into these. Now, you might not fall into any of these, or you might fall into some or all of them. So what I want to do is I'm going to do the introduction, and then I'm going to tell you the 5 myths about healing that really keep us suffering. I'm Queen Osset Haru, and thank you for joining me for another wonderful edition of Ask an Aquarius. If you haven't already, please hit the red subscribe button and smack the bell. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, pass it on to anybody and everybody who might like it too, and leave us a positive comment in the comment section. Please stick around to the end of the video because I'm going to read 2 of my favorite comments and respond to them. Also, if you would like to get a reading done, my email information and all my social media is underneath this video. If you would like to become a patron on Patreon, that information is also underneath this video. There's a lot of information underneath this video, so just check it out, okay? Also, I wanted to thank Ashley. Ashley became a patron on Patreon, and I was so happy. So thank you. Thank you so much, Ashley. So now we're going to do the 5 myths, okay? I'm just going to read them from the book and then tell you my opinions. 5 myths about healing, chapter 2. I really love this book. If you are interested in healing, this book is very helpful. The first myth: my life is defined by my wound. Some people do not heal purposely. And it's probably in a lot of cases subconscious, and it could be conscious too. But I've had a lot of conversations with people about healing over the years, healing themselves, healing their situations. And a portion of them clung to their wound. You know, when I even suggested, letting go, healing, forgiving, releasing, when I even suggested letting go of the wound, they were incensed, ballistic in some cases, or just emotional. Like, just the idea of stepping away really upset them. I had one client told me that she had been in therapy for 25 years for the same issues. And I said to her, what would happen if you started to try to forgive, not condone, but forgive what happened and release it? What would happen? She couldn't even conceive it logically. It upset her so bad. And as we talked more and more, I realized that she was using her wound all the time. It wasn't just talking about it at therapy, or it wasn't just, doing some journal exercises. She would be, like, for instance, talking to strangers, or she would be at work, or she would be doing something like that. And she would be like, well, you have no idea what I've been through. You have no idea what has happened to me. And everybody is like, what the fuck? Like, what are you talking about, She was constantly throwing, even if she didn't say exactly what the wound was, she was always throwing, you don't understand what I've been through. You don't understand my history. So her wound had really, at that point, started to be like a very part of how she defined herself and how she manipulated other people to care about her. And it took a long time for me and her both to, uncover this from talking to each other repeatedly, doing readings over the years. But it all came out that that's what it was all about. And once she saw it, then she started to work to let it go. And is currently in the process of working to release. So, but it took years. It took years for her to even consider it, because she was so defined by it, and at that point had started to really use it. Number 2, the second myth is being healthy means being alone. Some people believe that the only reason why people care about them is to take care of them. I have seen this particular situation happen mostly in codependent relationships. Okay, I have some couples that I've talked to over the years, and sometimes one of the members will say to me or insinuate to me that is a part of the problem. Okay, so if I'm an alcoholic, and that's how I'm manipulating my partner to take care of me, if I get sober, then how am I going to be my partner's priority? And I've had this happen more than once, where the other person didn't really want to get healthy, because then it means everything changes. And when you get healthy, you don't know what it's going to be like on the other side. When I was first deciding to heal, I didn't know what the healed me was going to look like. I was kind of scared in the beginning. I didn't know I thought it was a lot of work. And it was a lot of work. I'm not even going to say like it wasn't. It was a lot of work. But I thought it was going to be more work than I could do, that I wouldn't be able to pull it off, basically. So in the very beginning, I was more in that kind of a space. So a lot of times people are, actually questioning, is that going to change things in my life? Will this person no longer cater to me? I remember one man told me that the only reason why his wife stayed with him was because he was sick. He had bipolar disorder. And him and his wife started to get into a lot of arguments, a lot of really petty arguments. And every time their arguments flared up, his bipolar episodes flared up. And I noticed the correlation. And I was like, that's interesting. It's interesting to me. Every time they start to fight about domestic stuff, his bipolar episodes flare up too. And during the course of the conversation, it came out that that is how he was that is what he was using. He was using his bipolar episodes to keep his marriage together, because whenever he had an episode, his wife was very attentive. They didn't argue. She was very doting. She felt like he was her responsibility to make him better again. So if he had an incident, she would make him better again. And then after things got quiet for a while, the fighting would start again. So he figured out, hey, during that time, I can have a incident and everything will be okay again. So that's what he did. So when I was talking to him about healing his bipolar disorder, taking his Medicaid, whatever he was going to do, whatever kind of treatment he was going to do, he was resistant to even getting treatment, because he was thinking like, dang, if I heal my bipolar disorder, or if I control it or get it under control or get it calm or whatever the case is, then I won't be able to use that and my wife might leave. So that was a big deal. So for him, working that out was a large part of being okay with getting healthy. Then this one says, number 3, feeling pain means being destroyed by pain. So in order to get healthy, one of the things that everybody knows is that you're going to have to feel the pain. You're going to have to walk through the pain. And Aquarius have this tendency that we stuff pain, we hide from pain, we ignore pain. But in order for any of us of any zodiac sign to heal, we have to deal with the pain. We have to deal with the feelings. We have to release the feelings. We have to sometimes journal about it, talk about it. You're going to deal with that pain. Some of the times old stuff comes up, you're going to feel it, And remember I said a lot of people don't want to suffer. So they're thinking to themselves, if I got to go through all of this pain to get to the other side, and that's what's bothering them. They think it's going to destroy them. I know for me, I thought that for a long time. I thought that I would get, stuck in, my depression. It could destroy me. I could end up, harming myself or giving up on life, That did scare me for a long time. So when you tell me, in order to heal yourself, you have to deal with all of this stuff. You have to address all of this stuff. You have to recognize all of this stuff. You got to feel all these feelings and express them and deal with them and write about them and talk about them. I was not trying to hear it. I was not trying to hear it because I thought it was going to be so excruciatingly painful I couldn't make it. And that's just one of those dramas that we tell ourselves, because you can make it. With the right treatment, with the right, therapist or the right doctor or whatever you're using, your spirituality, whatever you're using, with the right treatment, you'll make it. With your own inner strength and the right treatment or the right spirituality or whatever you're going to use, you'll make it. But we tell ourselves all of these stories. Notice all the stories that we tell ourselves, and so many of them are just so not true. The 4th myth, Carolyn says, is that all illness is the result of negativity, and we are damaged at our core. So some people believe that we're damaged. So if you're damaged, you can't heal anyway. So what's the purpose of even going through all of the process, all of the journaling, all of the prayer, all the crying, if it really can't happen? What's it for? What's the purpose? When I first started my healing journey, I didn't know if it was possible. I didn't know anybody who had ever healed themselves. So everybody I knew who was wounded was still wounded. Okay? Anybody who was wounded in childhood was still a wounded adult. Okay? I didn't know anybody, to my knowledge, who had healed themselves. So when I was, first learning about healing methods and this kind of thing, I didn't know if it was going to work. I had never seen it before, but I did know it was worth a try, because I knew that what I did that was unproductive, trying to bury it, trying to escape it, using alcohol, or anything, any kind of escapism, that kind of thing. Even sex some people use, or working some people use, to escape what's going on in their heart. So at that particular time, I was like, that didn't work. None of those things work. None of the unproductive things work. The only thing I hadn't tried was productive things. I hadn't tried full-fledged spirituality. I hadn't tried meditation. I hadn't tried healing methods. I had not tried spirituality to do the healing work. So I was like, well, I know what didn't work, but I don't know if this will work. So I can either keep doing what doesn't work, or I can try something else and see if maybe it does. And it did. So for me, it was more of an experiment. It was just like, okay, well, this isn't working, so maybe something else will. So a lot of people don't believe that they can heal. They think everybody's damaged, and everybody's not. I've met some pretty well-adjusted people. Some people, believe it or not, were raised in love. Everybody wasn't raised in negativity and survival. Some people were raised in love. And they are people who are not damaged, and I've met plenty of them. I didn't know that a long time ago, but as I got older, I met plenty of them. And illness is the result of negativity. Illness can be the result of many different things. It can be the result of hereditary things, environmental, diet. It can be the result of many, many different things. Negativity is one of those things as well, too. So if you're ill, it doesn't mean necessarily that it was negativity. It could be a number of different things. So some people will use that as their fourth excuse not to allow themselves to heal. And the last one says, true change is impossible. So some people, just like the other one about healing, not only do they think they can't heal, but they don't think they can change. So they feel like, why even bother trying to change? Why bother trying to be a better person if I'm not going to be able to accomplish it? It's impossible. So why even try? But the truth is that it's not impossible. That's just what you're telling yourself because you don't want to do the work, don't know how to do the work. A lot of people, it's just a matter of just not knowing how. But that's what they're telling themselves. Or they just don't want to do the work. Remember, the word work is there for a reason. Healing yourself is work. It's not like you just, go to the dentist and get your teeth clean. It's not like that. Healing yourself is painstakingly, day after day, consistently working on healing what hurts you. Letting it go, forgiving, releasing. And the more stuff you have built up, the longer it's going to take. So that's just one of those kind of things. So those are the five myths about healing that Caroline Miss gave us. I've also seen some other ones that we're going to talk about in future videos. But if you're dealing with any of these myths, the first thing you need to do is start telling yourself the truth. The mind is a very powerful tool. You can lie to yourself and make yourself believe anything that you want to. So make yourself believe good things. Don't make yourself believe things that are going to keep you sick. Make yourself believe that to live is to suffer and it's okay. It's going to happen sometimes, and like a cloud, it's going to pass. Okay? We don't suffer all the time. We're not happy all the time. But if you're living life right, your suffering, dependent upon your situation, because remember, you could have a very difficult family situation. Some people suffer because the people around them are suffering. And that's one of those kind of things that's difficult as well. But in many, many situations, you won't suffer all the time. You'll suffer here and there. All right, let's deal with some positive comments. Bree Marie. Hey, Bree Marie. Bree Marie said, hey, Queen, love your makeup look in this video. Thank you. You guys know that I always like doing makeup looks from YouTube tutorials. I just watch them at random. I type in the colors that I have, and then a tutorial pops up, and I just try them. Thank goodness for YouTube, right? Jennifer Gray. Hey, Jennifer. Every time I see your name, I think of my girl from Dirty Dancing. That old movie with Patrick Swayze and Jennifer Gray. I love that movie. I love them old love movies. Jennifer said, I clicked on and the time said 222. 22? Yeah, 222. You are the best, queen. And I looked it up to see what 222 meant because I was like, ooh, what's that? And it says, overall, when you see 222, the meaning is that you are at a time of new beginnings and a new cycle of expansion. Trust that you have an unlimited power for creation. And it all starts with just a thought. Every powerful creation starts with a thought. The car, the airplane, everything. Even they say life itself, depending upon what spiritual system you believe, everyone starts with a creator that thinks of us. Everything. Every invention you've ever seen, everything started with a thought, an inspired thought. So when I saw that, I was like, you know what? That's right. Every one of us has these seeds of creation in us. So let your thoughts create, and hopefully we'll create a better world. All right, guys, it's time for me to get going. So you come back soon because I got a lot more to say. See you later.